Welcome back. Oh, my face is covered. Okay, so now that we've looked at simple interest, we're going to take a look at something called compound interest. So compound interest, basically what happens is it compounds. So what happens is the first period of interest is earned on an amount of money that is added to your initial investment, and then the second period uses the same interest formula. So essentially what it is doing simple interest multiple times. Okay, that can give it confusing and a little lengthy, but it will tell you the difference between simple interest over a period of time versus compound. Okay, it depends. Credit cards use compound interest when they're calculating how much you're going to owe them. But to actually do the calculations, let's take a look here. Okay, so brief summary as to what it is, and then we'll go into a quick calculation. So, hope everybody's doing well. Okay, here we go. So compound interest is a type of interest that calculated on the principal. For example, if you invest for 2 years, the interest is calculated for the first year. Okay, that interest is then added to your principal, and then a second year of interest is calculated. Okay, note that the investments can have different compounding years. So it's not just a 2-year term. If you have a semi-annual compounded interest, means you have 2 periods per year. If it's quarterly, it's 4. If it's monthly, it's 12. And if it's daily, it's 365. That only comes into effect when we're actually taking a look at the formula. Okay, so here is the formula for compound interest. It is a little complicated. As it states here, A equals the principal multiplied by 1 plus the rate over the amount of times or the type of interest it is, so the number of periods per year. Then that is multiplied by the exponent value of the number times the time. Okay, yeah, this is going to be a little complicated. So as it says, A is the final value plus the interest, P is the principal, R is the rate, N is the number of periods, and T is the total number of time invested. Well, what does that look like? Well, here's a question. Let's say we have to calculate the interest that I would earn on $1,000 that I invested in an account with an interest rate of 4% per year, but that I'm going to lock it in for a 2-year term. Okay. Well, the A is a question mark because that's what we're trying to find out. The principal is 1,000. That's what I'm investing. The rate is 4% turned into a decimal. That's 0.04. The time, how many periods it's going to mature. It's once per year, and the term is for 2 years. So if we look over here at the actual calculations, my mouse is going to work with me. A equals 1,000, which is the principal, times 1 plus the rate over how many times it's going to mature in a year. So just 1, so 4 over 1. And the exponent is 1 year, but I'm banking it for 2. That's where it gets a little complicated in this exponent value. Okay, so it's 1,000 times 1 plus 0.04 divided by 1 is 1.04, multiplied by the exponent 2. Okay, that's a button on your calculator. So it's 1.04 to the exponent 2, or squared in this case, is going to give you 1.0816. You multiply that by 1,000 and you get this final number of $1,081.60. You can calculate this using the simple interest formula, right? So you just use I equals PRT. I would be 1,000 times the decimal value times 1. You get $40. Okay, then you add it. A equals 1,000 plus 40. So after the first year, your investment is worth 1,040. Now you recalculate for the second year. I equals PRT. This time the principal changes to $1,040 times the rate of interest, which is 0.04 times the 1 more year you're locking it in. Well, that's going to give you $41.60. Now you add it. So A equals 1,040 plus $41.60. Finally, after the 2 years, your investment is going to be worth $1,081.60. Like I said, you can do it this way, but if you had to calculate it for like 8 different times, it's going to take up a whole sheet. That's why we use the formula. The formula of A equals P bracket 1 plus R over N over NT.